Good evening, everybody. Anostar Saber here once again. Tonight we're going to do a roster review with Metaljoyfest and take a look at what he's working with, seeing if we can help him out in some way, see if we can give him some directional advice. So now, one thing I noticed, I did a little preliminary look at your roster before starting this video here. I noticed you're clearly very new to the game, which we'll see in a bit here. I mean, you've got pretty good arena rankings. You have your Darth Revan team, at least a preliminary Darth Revan team set up, but you're only around 1.2 GP. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone was there at one time or another. But clearly, by the looks of it, you've been doing some meta chasing since you have G12 in both your Darth Revan and your Jedi Knight Revan. You've clearly invested some of your resources into getting there. Again, nothing wrong with that. I mean, let me tell you a little brief story here about when I first started. When I first started this game, it was a little bit before The Force Awakens came out, pretty much when the game started up. And the first thing you'd see, the first thing that was available to you was a $99 for Kylo Ren, the original Kylo Ren, something most people probably don't use now. Was good for a while, but ironically enough, back then, before he had the Zeta, he wasn't really good at all. I dropped $100 on that bad boy, and it went nowhere. It went nowhere. By the time he was good, he was free to play. Everyone had farmed him to 7 stars. All he needed to do was add the Zeta, and he was good. That was probably a good year and a half later. So, I mean, everyone's been in the meta chasing category, but I'm going to throw you some words of caution now. The first thing that stuck out to me, besides the fact that you're on the new end with a low GP, but also a Darth Revan, is where you are in your arena rankings here. So looking at things, 195, 147, that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination, but it does indicate room to grow, because Darth Revan being the meta, you have potential to get a lot more. I think I saw you in the 160s earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's why we do these videos. This is a perfect reason we go over these things to help you grow. Now, having the meta is nice, but one thing about the metas, they are only good for so long. It might be a half a year from now, or it might be a year from now. EA is going to move on to another way to get players for their money. That's just something you want to understand. So Darth Revan now, he's not going to be a bad, don't get me wrong, but he's not always going to be at the top of the game forever. And you can have past metas, and you can do okay. As you can see now, I am actually probably in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to start my climb. So that means I reached second place last night when I did the video last night, and I fell to 23. So this is with a full regular Jedi Knight Revan team that I normally use. And part of that, it can fall farther. I fall sometimes closer to 50. But the point here is I'll be able to make that climb back fairly easy. And this is a past meta team. So long story short, you have a pretty good set of tunes already in your lineup. Rather than continuing to go meta chasing 6 months from now, a year from now, when maybe some Rise of Skywalker $100 shiny toy comes out, focus on making what you have good and better and able to do great things from where you're at. I wouldn't spend a lot of time. I wouldn't blow additional resources. I mean, your budget's yours. I'm not going to say don't spend your resources on this hobby if you want to. That's totally up to you. But be aware as you do it that what you do in this game, it doesn't last forever. So you'll find that you're better off if you focus your efforts and your time and resources, if you want to, on building what you have and making it very good. Because there's a whole slew of characters at various levels. Now, 1.2 inventory, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Nothing wrong with that. I just want to make you aware of that. Um, because you have options in front of you. You don't want to go crazy just meta chasing your whole life or you'll drive yourself insane. Let me show you, as a for instance, my arena shard right now. I will show you some guys who really start to invest themselves. So up here, this guy here, Tanaka, he's part of Team Instinct. If you've heard of it, watch the videos. He's a part of basically it's about the most elite characters in this game. And this guy spends accordingly. You can see all the gold on his team. You can see all the Zetas. This didn't happen recently. He's had most of that there day one of Malik release. I mean, that's what this guy does. He has all the Zetas ready. He meta chases all his life. Does it stop me from taking his spot in number 1 or number 2 when I want it? Sometimes, occasionally, sometimes I just don't have RNG play my way. But I don't invest anywhere near the extent he does. I have a respectable roster. I have a Darth Revan with 1 Zeta, but notice I'm not using him. Now, you have a similar option here. You spent your time on Jedi Knight Revan. You have a little more resources in it too as well. I don't know what you've been testing and what you've been at, but at the point you're at, if your Darth Revan team isn't holding up for you on defense, it really doesn't matter which team you go with. And since you actually have invested a little bit more resources-wise into the Jedi Knight Revan, maybe you want to go that route. Maybe you don't. Totally up to you. How you enjoy this game is completely your choice, your decision. But you do have a Bastila Sean Zeta, which doesn't really help you on a Jedi Knight Revan team unless she's lead. You do have some other options available to you. I would focus on building what you got. Take something you like. Take 5 characters and make them great. That would be my focus for you. Similar thing in ships. I mean, this is another evidence right here. You haven't spent a lot of time in ships. I would focus on maybe not the meta stuff, but take the stuff you have that's good and make it better. Take your Houndstooth. Farm those shards. They're in the same place every single day. So go into your light side battles every day. Jango Fett's not bad to have either. Farm these shards to completion every time. If you want to spend crystals on refreshes, up to you. It'll help you go a little bit quicker. I wouldn't go crazy that way. Just make it consistent, make it an everyday thing, and you'll get there. So another thing you always want to look at going into these types of things as you grow and as you improve is your mod situation. This is another thing that stuck out that's probably, if you're wondering right now what's separating you from top 10, top 20, that's going to be a big source of it right there. That and your Zetas. I mean, Zetas are going to make a difference too. Don't get that twisted. But looking at your mods here, you got in 6 geared. Now, I mean, the question comes, what are the stats? Okay, maybe a part of that is gear at 12 plus. I'll buy that. You haven't been raiding into the heroic Sith raid for very long. This is your opportunity to add some of those gear 12 plus pieces, get the extra 6 speed. I would look into getting a speed set that will take your Darth Revan a little bit faster than what you got there. Really, I mean, the top people in the arena are somewhere in the vicinity of, well, they usually factor somewhere in close to 325 to 330 speed right now. That's the Kraken of the whales, the ones who spend thousands of dollars, probably every meta switch shift, and take their teams to the optimal level. That's what they tend to operate at. Now, I would say shoot at least get 100. Start with 100, get a speed set that gets you to 100 plus speed, and get it on this Darth Revan. Then shoot for 110, then shoot for 120. If you haven't watched it yet, we have a basic mod 101 video that we've uploaded here. I think it gives you a lot of the tips you will probably use to get your Darth Revan up to speed. Pardon the pun, because that's literally what we're doing here. Same thing with your Bastila. A lot of people refer to her as fast. I noticed you put a speed set on her, which is the right intention. Now it's just you've only got 38 speed out of the bargain. Clearly, you don't have a lot of plus speed stats on any of these things and you have a protection mod. Gives her a little more health. That's valuable in its own right. But really, another thing is I'll mention with mirror matches in the meta, they can actually be harder, not easier, than using counter meta teams. Because in the long and the short of it is, it becomes a competition of who has the faster mods. Literally, that's what it becomes. Counter metas, at least you have strategies that can work around it. They may not hold up as well in defense as a meta team would, and typically that's the case, but it can be very frustrating to take a meta team on offense because if you don't have the mods in place that your opponent does, it can be a pretty much impossible battle for you. So I want you to be aware of that. So again, go with what you have the most fun with. Don't make me tell you how to play this game. I'm just here to offer some tips here. Another thing here I do want to mention, not a horrible team by any stretch of the imagination, but you lack some of the key things that make a meta team meta here. First of all, Malik. Don't sweat him. If you can build your Old Republic Sith Empire team to operate at the level that you need to get Malik up, great. I would try to keep working that Sith Trooper. Clearly, you've started that direction. You just got some gearing to go. Get his Omegas, get him up there. Much better replacement for Palpatine, because if you're especially in a meta match, you need that auto taunt right out the gate to keep your heat off your Revan. Because especially when you're not running with very fast mods on him and your Bastila, you're going to have corrupted battle meditation and horror all over the place. You're really not going to get to use your team the way you want to. Now, if you do continue down the Darth Revan pass, and I will tell you this, it's not the meta right now, but Jedi Knight Revan, which you have a little bit more of your resources in, is still completely viable to get you into you can get number one in the raid. I do it literally every other night if I can help it. Just because I was alternate with the other person in my shard. So you can still do that. And I have Darth Revan, and I have most of the Darth Revan team, on the most part, more advanced than where you have it. But I'm not using it yet. That's a choice I make. I make the choice because I have a very robust Jedi Knight Revan team, and I've found workarounds to get through the meta forces. Use some of my things there. Either way, it's going to be a steady strain. Meta chasing will get you a good starter team. I want to reiterate, all the stuff you've invested your time and your resources in, they will carry you and they will be good for a very long period of time. They won't always be the best for a very long period of time. So you want to make sure the fact that you're new, you focus your efforts, make some very good teams to start off with, and then begin to branch off here. You've done a great job at focusing on what are very good teams right now. Now it's time to continue to build them up, and then when you build them up to the right levels, to branch out here. So now looking at your other team members, just to see what else you had in the arena, you had Palpatine. Again, speed would be very helpful. You don't have a lot of speed on any of your characters in your mods. The best thing I would recommend for you here is keep that driving towards getting high speed secondaries. Look for speed in your secondaries. The modding 101 video goes over it in pretty good depth, so I won't reiterate it here, because you want to keep building up your speed here. HK47 isn't necessarily a speed-oriented tune, but you can definitely go up and look at getting a good look at putting don't go towards the protection triangle. Try to get a crit damage triangle on there as well. Try to max him out. And as you get his stats, also look for plus offense. So the first thing I notice when I look at your cross mod, no plus offense, it's not going to do anything for you in the long run. You look at your triangle mod again, it has a percentage offense. That's not really that big of a deal for you. You look at this, good that you have an offense there, something that might be good for you in the long run, in fact, because you have 81 offense. If you can get some of the rest of your mods of speed secondaries, that actually may be able to stick for you. This one here, again, you got some pretty strong offense. That's what you want to look for, is that plus offense. If you can get some speed on it, that would be helpful as well. This mod, this is a throwaway. I mean, for the most part. Got some potency on it. That's really the only stat that HK47 even used a little bit, and still you want to make sure you get that offense. Here you got a little bit of speed, but a lot of defensive stats. Follow that mod guide video and try to shoot for those offensive and those speed secondary stats on him. That'll get you there. Again, Darth Revan, make sure you follow the steps to try to get yourself some speedy mods. Not doing super horribly, don't get me wrong. I know I'm kind of giving off the vibe that you do have a lot of work to do, because you do. I mean, I'm not going to underplay what you're going to run into the arena. You'll see some people with 150 plus, 160 plus sometimes speed just from their mods, and that's going to make a huge difference in the outcome. But this is one of those things. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're going to have to put in the effort to keep working on those mods, try to get faster ones, look for those speed stats in your secondaries and build those mods first. Speed and plus offense. If you can find both, you've got a potential winner, and it's a matter of patience. Sometimes you'll have to refresh the mod thing. You're going to have to control your resources and keep working towards it. It's not going to happen overnight. But after a period of time, small successes accumulate, and they become big successes after they do. So keep working. Now that you're here raiding with us on a regular basis, you'll find that gear becomes a lot more accessible. Same thing with your Thrawn. You've done a good thing in putting some speed as the icon, but really, you're costing yourself. I would say for Thrawn, a much better combination would be a speed mod like you got here, but with the speed primary stat. You get that 30 speed, automatically will jump to 32 as soon as you 6-dot it. And you can use Thrawn very effectively. And just like last night, I recommend you folks get the ebb and flow Zeta eventually. That will make your Thrawn more viable in a lot of teams. As a plug-and-play team member goes, he's very high. I apologize for my cranky boys in the background to the extent you can overhear it. Sometimes they get that way, and it's hard to... I don't live in such a big house that I have a soundproof studio, unfortunately. But keep working towards it. You're on the right track. You're going to need a lot of stat boosts in a lot of areas. I would go ahead and take snapshots of some of the teams at the very top here. I would look at your what they call Fastula, because it's Fallen Bastila, but they also make her fast. A lot of the times you'll be seeing upwards of 100,000 combined here. You're around 70, so there's room for growth there. Speeds in the 100k plus. Forgive me for the intrusion there. You'll probably want to see if you can grow that as much as you can. Keep on working those stats, get your potency. Your potency is actually pretty good, but you're going to want to go better. You want that correct battle meditation to go early and often, because if you're using this team, that's how you succeed, is with the corrupted battle meditation. Huge difference out there. Same thing, HK47, you're going to need his Zetas. That's going to take some work. Don't worry about the target elimination. You're not going to use him as your leader in this lineup. But you will want to get both of these Zetas eventually if you want to use this team. Again, you can decide for yourself if you like the Jedi Knight Revan team better or it feels more fluid to you. I'm still using mine. I don't have my Darth Revan team built up yet. Um, and the reason is I have my Jedi Revan pretty much where I need it. I can take it all the way to the top, no problem. Now, you've got some work to do on your Jedi Revan too. It's going to be a choice, but both are viable. You're going to have to, I would say, be patient first of all. I mean, I can see you've definitely put some aggressive efforts towards getting these meta things, but eventually you're going to run into this stovepipe, this basically this point where everything intersects and you just can't go. No matter what you do, you just can't seem to advance things fast enough. Zetas is a big one, especially when you're in the lower 100 ranks in your arena. So you're going to need to invest time. Time is something that will be a huge factor here, and it's just going to be a matter of patience and getting there. I mean, you've clearly invested yourself well. I know I've been kind of offering a lot of feedback and for improvement, but I can tell for someone at your stage in the game, people in the 1.2 category, you almost never see with all the meta tunes that you have in it. Great job in getting those. Great job in building them up to gear 12, probably gear 12 plus in some instances. You've come a long way. There's no question. And in a very short period of time, you've done well. And the reason I'm offering you these pieces of advice is clearly you're hungry. Clearly you want to move further. I mean, I can see you put a lot of gear 12 pieces on your Darth Revan already. So maybe you want to continue down that track. Again, totally up to you here and what you have. You've been spending a lot more time looking at your roster than I have. You're just going to have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And as you raid with us, keep on pushing. Listen to the videos I've put out on some of the raiding ideas. You won't be able to do them all because you don't have my roster. That's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. Just keep trying to do what you can, finding things that work for you. Put as much effort where you can, when you can, because the end result of that is you'll be able to do more things with your roster. And keep, as the credits become higher, start to bring some of your tunes you don't use as much and try to bring them to the forefront. That'll offer you roster diversity. That will offer you options that you maybe didn't have before. It'll give them to you now. So keep working towards that. Again, my compliments to you. My roster did not have this heavy stuff at 1.2. Then again, my roster at 1.2 probably didn't have CLS in it. I don't think CLS was released back then. So I've been around for many years now doing this to get where I'm at today, and it's not something that happens. And your Darth Revan is about where mine is right now. In fact, your Darth Revan's better than mine is right now. I mean, kudos to you on that. He's actually a lot better than mine is right now, except you're going to need to mod him faster. So if you're going that route, get him some really good fast mods. Try to break him over that 300 or into that 300 ballpark, if not more. Keep on working it. Keep on working those mods. Keep on working your Bastila Shan Fallen. She will be valuable to you. Get her faster. Get her a lot faster. She will pay dividends for you. Get her that Zeta to make her and Darth Revan more beefy. Again, this is assuming you continue the Darth Revan path. Work the HK-47. Get the Zetas as soon as you can. I know it's not something that happens quickly. Keep pushing towards the Gear 12. Get him that crit damage and crit hit sets and a lot of offense. He will take out it. Sometimes, I mean, I've had HK alone and unafraid against multiple Jedi Knight Revan members on my team, and he just absolutely destroys it in the long run because he'll one-shot Jolie Bindo and then he'll follow up and Yoda will not be able to take him out because he just heals himself on all his buffs, and then he one-shots Yoda the next turn. It's crazy sometimes. A lot of capability. There's definitely things you can accomplish with the Jedi Revan. I would say keep working your Thrawn like you've been doing, not because he's necessarily the best for your Darth Revan lineup, but because he's what you have right now and he can actually make the difference there. I would also consider um, maybe working towards your Grandmaster Yoda as well, because believe it or not, a lot of people in the Darth Revan lineup are using Grandmaster Yoda because he's got a faster base speed than Fallen Bastila. He'll pop up his tenacity up, and her corrupted battle meditation is effectively useless when that happens. That's an option for you. They usually have him replace the HK as kind of your heavy hitter there, and with a team that's basically corrupted battle meditation proof, it's a total control fight from there. Get your Sith Trooper, keep working him, keep farming his node. I know that's not an instantaneous thing, especially since they took the amount of charges from 8 to 5. You're gonna have to you've gone ahead and you pushed hard, really hard, towards some of the top tunes available in the game. Now it's building up the support network you need to do it effectively and getting the mods so you can really take it from your level at the 100 or 150 to 200 range all the way up to staying in top 50 consistently. I mean, like I said, options are available to you. I will, in the course of this evening, take this all the way to number 1 in arena and number 2 tonight. It always alternates for me. That's how I keep track. But and that's because I have an arrangement with people in my shard to not hit them when it's their turn, and vice versa. And we take turns getting the top spot. Something I would recommend you do as well. But first of all, you got to get people to notice you, and that's the way to do that is to build your tunes, make them faster, make them stronger, get them to where they can take you where you need. Now, you've done a lot of work into your Darth Revan. You may just want to continue on that strain. I offered the Jedi Knight Revan as an alternative because both are workable right now. Both will get you there. You're not getting there right now, clearly. That just means you have room to grow, room to improve. Nothing wrong with that. Just keep the strain on, persevere. Don't get frustrated if things don't work out the way you'd hope they would as quickly as you'd hope they would, and ask a lot of questions. The fact that you took the time and asked me to do this video review means that you are very interested in improving your team and taking it to the next level. I'm happy to help you to the extent I can. I don't know everything, but I've been doing this game a long time. And even the things that I don't use a lot, because I don't use Darth Revan, but I've fought against it enough to know pretty well how it's going to work out. I just haven't taken it actively on the offense in arena. I can try to answer a lot of your questions and tell you whether something you attempt will or won't work for you, or at least give you some pointers to set you in the right direction. Happy to help. Thank you for asking me to do this video review. I look forward to seeing you develop and improve and to achieve greater and greater things, both in the raids and the arenas. I think you've got a lot of potential. If you keep the strain on, don't let yourself get so frustrated and give up, and keep pushing towards that goal. I believe you're going to get there. I think you're going to get there a lot quicker than a lot of people do. But that's all I have for this evening. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to continue asking. I'll address it either in our chat or in a video as appropriate, and we'll work from there. This is Ando, Star Saber signing off. We'll see you next time.